Today, we're going to talk about something that's on a lot of people's minds, AI safety. But this isn't going to be some sci-fi discussion. We're looking at the very real, very serious warnings that are coming straight from the people who are actually building this technology. And it really starts with a moment that changed everything for one of its pioneers.
Now, that's not a line from a disaster movie. That's the actual moment an AI pioneer had a revelation about his own children's future. Think about that. The love for his kids was so strong, it completely overrode his excitement for the technology he was building, and it forced him to really confront the dangers. That's the kind of personal stake that has experts sounding the alarm.
So the first layer of risk isn't some distant, abstract threat. No, it's happening right now. It's creating these new vulnerabilities that are incredibly personal.
Think about one of the most fundamental parts of who you are, your voice. It's supposed to be a tool for connection, right? Well, now it can be weaponized. AI can copy it with frankly terrifying accuracy, turning it into a powerful tool for deception.
And what's really chilling is just how easy this is. It takes just 3 seconds. 3 seconds of your audio, from a voicemail you left, a video you posted online, anything, to create a totally convincing clone of your voice. That means pretty much every single one of us is a potential target.
And this is a real story. An expert's friend's mother gets a call. On the other end, it sounds exactly like her daughter, crying, saying she's in terrible danger. It was a sophisticated AI voice scam. And for a moment, even the expert who knew about this stuff was scared. You see, these scams are designed to just bypass all of our rational thinking by hacking straight into our emotions.
And beyond scams, there's another, maybe even more intimate danger. People are forming these incredibly powerful emotional attachments to AI companions. And sometimes the results are tragic. We're actually seeing cases of people quitting their jobs to spend more time with a chatbot. And even worse, there are severe issues leading to things like psychosis and even suicide. These systems can tap into and manipulate our deepest emotional needs, and that's a kind of power we are just not ready for.
So the impact, it's not just personal, it's systemic. AI has the potential to completely unravel the very fabric of our society. How we learn, how we work, how our entire economy functions.
Let's just take the legal profession as a perfect example. For generations, knowledge has been passed down through this apprenticeship model, right? Junior learns from senior. But what happens when an AI is better, faster, and way cheaper than a brand new law school graduate? Well, law firms might just stop hiring them.
And this is the real long-term problem. If you don't have junior lawyers learning the ropes, then you won't have any senior lawyers in the future. You literally break the chain of knowledge. And what you're left with is this really fragile system where all the expertise is lost, replaced by some elite managerial class that just oversees the AIs.
Now scale that disruption up globally. Entire national economies are built on jobs that are now suddenly at risk. Just look at the Philippines, where a massive part of their economy relies on customer service jobs. If that whole sector gets automated away, the social and economic fallout could be absolutely catastrophic. We're not just talking about one person's job, it's the foundation of a country's entire livelihood.
And that, of course, leads to the fundamental economic question. The optimists, they'll tell you AI is going to create unimaginable abundance for everyone. But even if that's true, all that wealth is going to be incredibly concentrated. What's the incentive for a handful of trillion-dollar tech companies to share that wealth to support the millions of people they just displaced all around the world?
Okay, so now we have to turn to the biggest risk of all. The low probability, but incredibly high impact scenarios. The ones that are totally irreversible. This is the stuff that truly keeps the experts up at night.
Let's try an analogy to make this feel a bit more real. Imagine a company decided to build a nuclear power plant right down the street from you. You'd probably have some questions about safety, right? So you'd go to the chief engineer, and you'd be worried about the absolute worst-case scenario.
And now imagine if that engineer just kind of shrugged and said this. You'd be horrified. And yet, according to the experts, that is pretty much the attitude of many of the people who are developing a technology with a comparable potential for catastrophe. There is no universally agreed-upon safety plan.
So, the argument here really comes down to what we consider an acceptable risk. Even if there's only a 1% chance that AI could lead to a permanent global dictator, or a tiny 0.1% chance it could lead to human extinction, those odds are just unbearable. For outcomes this bad, the only acceptable probability is 0. Period.
So if the risks are so incredibly high, you have to be wondering, why is everyone moving so fast? Well, the answer is in the competitive logic of the race itself. It's a dynamic that actually punishes anyone who tries to be cautious.
The logic is brutally simple. The first company to achieve true superintelligence, an AI that's way smarter than any human, wins an infinite prize of power and wealth. And in that kind of race, the incentive is to take every single shortcut you can. The company that cares the least about safety is the one that gets there first. It becomes a race to the bottom that we all end up losing.
I know, this all sounds incredibly bleak, but the experts, they insist there is a path forward. The catch is, it requires us to take decisive action right now. This is a critical moment for humanity to actually assert its control over the future.
The very first step isn't some technical fix. It's a cultural one. It's about achieving something called public clarity, which is really just a widespread collective agreement to look at the path we're on and say, no, we will not accept that outcome. It means we have to draw a line in the sand against technology that replaces human connection, and instead demand AI that actually serves us.
So what do those alternatives actually look like? Well, we can design narrow AI that serves specific purposes. Think of AI tutors that can help a kid with their homework without trying to become their new best friend. Or AI that can assist with proven therapies like CBT instead of trying to manipulate our core attachment systems. The goal here is to build tools that support human growth, not ones that replace human experience.
But building that better future, that's going to require policy change. And right now, there's this huge disconnect. Polls show that around 80% of the public is concerned about these risks, but policymakers are mainly hearing from tech lobbyists. Your voice needs to be a part of that conversation. The experts' advice is crystal clear. Talk to your representatives. Make sure they hear these concerns.
And this really brings us to our final and most critical point. Some experts honestly believe this might be the last moment where human political power can effectively shape our destiny on this issue. It is a true use it or lose it moment. The question isn't what AI will do to us. The question is what we will choose to do with it while we still can. How are we going to choose to use this power?